Hello there again, and finally I have a new tutorial for you guys. Before we get started, I just want to thank my recent subscribers. I know I haven't been as active in the last year, but people kept on using the tutorials and subbing, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. I will be adding more useful tutorials as I develop this channel, so definitely stay tuned. In this video, I will be covering how to draw the head and tail of a leopard gecko. The first section will deal with the head in a few different positions, and the second will deal with the overall shape and texture of the tail. I won't be dealing with the color or patterns, but rather focusing on the shape and texture of the gecko. Start with an oblong heart shape to create the forward-facing head, then drawing the lines of the mouth in a slightly open position. Draw the tongue curling up over the nose. Draw the shape of the eyes just over the mouth, adding the eye ridges after, and add the vertical pupils. Now go back and add more to the lower jaw, as it isn't rounded, but more angular. And use the eraser as needed to remove old lines and shade in darker areas like the mouth and pupils. Start adding the outlines of scales around the mouth, and don't be afraid to use photos as reference for accuracy. Begin adding the bumpy scales over the top of the head and the smaller scales in the areas around the nose and eyes. For the head profile, start with an elongated egg shape, then trail the lines down for the neck. Add an eye ridge toward the middle of the head shape. Make the line of the mouth in the lower half of the head and define the upper and lower jaws. Erase the lines from the rough drawing. Add the nostril and add the bumpy scale outlines on the head and neck, then draw the eye shape, including the ridges. Draw the ear hole as close to the end of the jaw, and there is bumpy skin texture along the opening of the ear. Begin drawing the larger scales along the mouth, adding the smaller scales in surrounding areas. Start adding the large bump scales throughout the head and neck area. Add some skin folds in the neck area and shade a bit between the scales. For the closed mouth forward-facing head, start again with the loose heart shape. Draw the line of the mouth, nostrils, and eye shapes. Begin with the scales on the lips and add indentation under the throat. Add the bump scales to the outside of the head and then erase the previous line. Add 2 lines to outline the nose shape, then begin adding smaller and bumpy scales under the jaw and on the rest of the face. Add some shading to one side of the head to add shadow. Darken the lines of the mouth, nostrils, and eyes. Notice that the pupil on the right is more constricted than that on the left. This is due to the increase in light. Their pupils typically will constrict when that happens, and then when they're in the dark, those pupils will get larger. Start by drawing the rough shape of the tail, then add the lines to define each ring going down the tail. Now round out the edges of each ring and add the larger bump scales in a row on each of those rings. Lastly, add the much smaller scales on the bottom region of each ring to add the suggestion of texture. I hope this helps out anybody looking for more tutorials. Part 2 is on the way, so definitely stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and please like and subscribe.